Ask the Clerk Segris call the roll.
Trustee Anthony.
Present.
Trustee Foster.
Good evening.
Trustee Graham Hudek. Good evening. Let the record reflect Clerk Segrist is in attendance. Treasurer Slavens. Trustee Snyderman
I am present.
and Supervisor Williams.
Good evening. Would like to now move into a closed session for an update on pending litigation, Meyer versus Canton Township. It's my understanding that the roll to go into closed session must be called alphabetically. Clerk,
Supervisor, I make a motion that the board go into closed session to discuss pending litigation.
those
All
in
right.
favor of the motion will be called individually.
Trustee Anthony.
Present, yes.
Trustee Foster.
Aye.
Trustee Graham Hudek.
Yes.
Clerk Segrist. Aye. Treasurer Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Supervisor Williams.
Aye. We are now in closed session.
Put it in front of his computer.
Call for a motion to move from closed session into open session.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a call for a motion to approve the agenda as presented with, are we moving an item out of consent? Let's see. Or is that not tonight?
E1.
Yeah, to move C1 out to the general calendar, call it G0.
Supervisor, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended with item C1 added as G0.
Favor the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have 3 sets of minutes for approval. I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th, November 26th, and December 3rd, 2019 meetings.
So moved.
Support.
Favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, time in the program to recognize 3 promotions. And I've got Clerk Segrist and Trustee Anthony, retired FBI agent. Trustee Anthony is going to do the swearing in or the acknowledgement of the promotions, please. And up first, we're going to have Sergeant Colthurst, if you could join.
Read it. He's going to swear him in. Perfect. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We have several promotions in the Public Safety Department, specifically the Police Department, that I'm proud to swear. I'm going to read a little bit about the gentleman, and then Mike is going to swear you guys in and give you your badge. So we're going to- First one we have is Andrew Colthurst. Did I screw that up pretty bad?
Close enough.
Andrew is being recognized tonight for his promotion to the rank of sergeant with the Canton Police Department. Andrew started with the department as a police officer in 2007. In his new position, he will serve as a platoon supervisor, providing leadership, training, and mentoring to the road patrol officers assigned to his shift. He will also be responsible for administrative assignments and special projects under the leadership of his designated shift commander. Andrew is joined here tonight by his parents, Eric and Susan Colhurst. Eric, congratulations, we appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to swear you in now. Step over here.
Following.
It's official.
Now's a good time to get pictures if anybody in the family wants to snap a picture.
He gets two of them.
Extra.
We now have a couple of lieutenants to be promoted. The first individual is Mike Andes. Did I do that right, Mike? Mike is being recognized tonight for his promotion to the rank of lieutenant with the Canton Police Department. Mike was hired by Canton in 2007 as a police officer and was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2016. In his new position, he will serve as a platoon commander in the patrol division, overseeing the daily operations of his shift, which is made up of sergeants, patrol officers, and PSSOs. In addition, he will be responsible for providing direction, motivation, and training of subordinate personnel working toward the accomplishment of the department's established goals and objectives. Mike is joined here by his wife and children and son and daughter. Yeah, it's just a son, daughter. And also by his in-laws. Congratulations, Mike, on your promotion. Then get your sworn in. That's a heavy badge.
Further, I swear upon my honor.
Further, I swear upon my honor.
And my badge.
I will carry my badge.
My integrity.
My integrity.
The public trust.
The public trust.
I will hold myself and others accountable.
I will hold myself and others accountable
To the community we serve.
community we serve.
Ed Johnson. Edward Johnson is being recognized tonight for his promotion to the rank of lieutenant with the Canton Police Department. Ed was hired by Canton in 2002 as a police officer and was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2014. In his new position, Lieutenant Johnson, that sounds good, doesn't it, Lieutenant? Will serve as a platoon commander in the patrol division, overseeing the daily operations of his shift made up of sergeants, patrol officers, and PSSOs. In addition, he will be responsible for providing direction, motivation, and training of subordinate personnel working toward the accomplishment of the department's established goals and objectives. Ed is joined tonight by his wife and daughter, Meredith, Headley, and Violet. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
I, Edward Johnson, solemnly swear.
I, Edward Johnson, solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Michigan.
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
And faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of police lieutenant of the Charter Township of Canton.
of police lieutenant of the Charter Township of Canton.
Further, I swear upon my honor.
Further, I swear upon my honor
Never betray my badge.
to never betray my badge,
My integrity.
my integrity,
Or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always hold myself and others accountable
I will always hold myself and others accountable
to the community we serve.
to the community we serve.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations, each and every one of you. Pens in the back. Whoever was the last lieutenant to sign, can we move the pen back up to Clerk Segrist? He needs it back. Okay. Okay, we'll give the room a second to clear, and then we'll have an opportunity for citizens' non-agenda item comments. We should move payment of the bills in front of that.
Yeah, we should, but.
Michael, is that your pen?
Ben? That's beautiful, thank you. I grabbed another one.
Can we, in the future, flip flop public comment after payment of the bills? Or is it important that the payment of bills?
We technically have a rule on that, but I can always amend it.
He has a
That's
rule.
fine, we'll follow the rules.
You want to change it? Let's do, we
It
can do
always
it.
feels
Are
awkward
you,
to.
you're redoing the are we
Yeah.
redoing the rules? Well,
Technically takes a 2/3 vote of the board to change the rules, though.
Okay.
But you're redoing all of everything, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, so when you
We'll
do,
wait and, yeah, do it all
You could get rid
then.
of the vote process if you want.
okay, again, now would be the time for any citizens' non-agenda item comments. Is there anybody who would like to make non-agenda item comments? Seeing none, ask Clerk Segrist to read the single item in the consent calendar. Oh, payment, yep.
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion that we pay the bills.
So moved.
Thank you, Treasurer Slavens. Those in favor of the motion as presented, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a single item on the consent calendar.
Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the consent calendar as amended with item C2, consider second reading of an amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances regarding the Great Land Real Estate rezoning.
Support.
Those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll move to item G0, which is formerly was in the consent calendar as item C1. Consider reappointment of Ron Pennington to the Building Board of Appeals.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the board reappoint Mr. Ron Pennington to the Building Board of Appeals for a term expiring on 12/31/2021.
Support.
In terms of summary, Mr. Pennington has been a member of the Building Board of Appeals since 1987. His updated resume included review, for review purposes. His current term expires December 31st, 2019. He has served as on the board as an exceptional capacity, sharing his expertise and knowledge. Also attaches a list of the current members for the board's information. Also, part of presenting this to you this evening was getting confirmation from Rob Kramer that he indeed is supportive of this reappointment. So that was done. And then furthermore, might as well segue into this Friday, Trustee Foster, Trustee Snyderman, and myself are going to sit down and review the entire process on future appointments. Also, all future appointments will be moved into general calendar as opposed to consent calendar in the future. Are there any other comments or questions at this time from, yes?
Can I just ask, I mean, just for a review of what is required then on this board? Do we have to have so many builders or licensing? What's required for this particular appointment?
In the packet this evening, the requirements for the position.
I don't see them. No, no.
This appointment, there are very specific requirements of who sits on this, and it tends to be more of a technical position than a lot of our other appointments we have across the community. I will get for you tomorrow, if you'd like, a copy of what those requirements are.
Did we post this one in the Focus at all, or?
They were all posted in general terms, and I think that'll be part of the outcome of their meeting on Friday, is it's time to do another general request for all the different positions. What'll be a little bit different this time, my intent to identify every potential opening between now and November of next year, so we can make a call for all those various positions at the same time.
Did we have a plan to put these on the website in terms of
They
everybody?
are on the website currently.
With all their expiration dates?
Who's there and the expiration dates is on the website today. Yes, Amy did that some months ago.
All right, thank you.
Support our meeting Friday.
Good. Seeing no further questions or comments, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item G1. Request approval for notice of intent resolution to issue limited tax general obligation bonds.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the attached resolution authorizing myself, the township clerk, to publish a notice of intent to issue limited tax general obligation bonds not to exceed $20 million, and appoint Benzinski and Company and Dickinson Wright PLLC as the township's registered municipal advisor and bond counsel, respectively, in connection with the sale and issuance of the bonds.
In terms of background, this resolution authorizes Township Clerk to publish a notice of intent to issue bonds. The township intends to issue and sell limited tax general obligation bonds pursuant to the provisions of Act Number 34, Public Acts of 2001, as amended, in an amount not to exceed $20 million for the purpose of defraying part of the 2019-2023 Township Capital Improvement Plan as adopted by the Township Board on October 8, 2019. While the township does not currently anticipate issuing the entire $20 million, this gives the township the ability to do so without publishing an additional notice of intent resolution in the future. The actual amount of the debt issued will be brought forth to the board for approval in a subsequent resolution after the 45-day referendum period has concluded. Also in the audience this evening, we have Mr. Budzinski from Budzinski and Company, Paul Wazowski, Dickinson Wright, representing Dickinson Wright, and Eric McLaughlin, also representing Dickinson Wright. If there are any questions from the board or comments, please, Stephen.
I just think it's important for the public to hear. I mean, they probably may have noticed we did a study session on this a few months ago, and just that this is for fixing capital in our community, our buildings and such. And
Correct. This is for fixing current existing facilities, including buildings and park improvements, parking lots. It's the current infrastructure that we need to renovate: rooftop units, roofs, so on and so forth.
And we'll be looking to issue some of this over the coming months and years.
Correct. So there is the 5-year plan that the Township Board adopted. We are not planning on issuing the full $20 million of debt at this point in time. Anyways, if you recall, it was about a $20 million total that we were looking at over the 5-year period, a little bit higher than that once you add the fire station into the mix as well. But we were only planning on issuing debt for the first couple years' worth of the capital projects that we were doing. We thought after that, after we got some of these big projects done, we could absorb years 3 and 4 going out. In addition, in 2023, we pay off our final large bond payment on this current building. That's about a $2 million annual debt payment. So we believe once we can get through some of these renovations, we'll be able to pay for most of these just using the current dollars as we're moving forward. But this does give us flexibility. If actual costs start coming in higher than we thought, it also gives us the ability to pay them off over a longer period of time if we needed to, over 15 years instead of 10 years. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility. Any actual debt issuances that we're going to recommend would be brought forth before the board for actual approval at that point in time. So this is just authorizing us to put the notice in the newspaper that we're planning on issuing debt in the future at an amount not to exceed $20 million.
Oh, that's great, thank you. I think it's great that after all of us have lived through the times that we had pushed projects off, it's nice to be able to talk about doing projects to make up for those times, so it's great.
And I would like to add, if you have questions for bond counsel or our financial advisor, they'd be happy to answer questions, but I do want to say thank you to Paul Wagowski. He's going to be moving on at the end of December into greener pastures, so he's been a great asset to our community as we've gone through the road millage. He helped us get the ballot language put together that allowed us the flexibility if we had to issue debt for that. Worked through a lot of the special assessments. He's had a lot of history with the township and has always been willing to step in and help out when we've needed it. So I appreciate your help and good luck in the future.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Michael.
Are you aware of what the current credit rating for the township is, or is there a plan to get that rating prior to eventually making the decision on the debt?
So Mr. Benzinski, Bobby, could speak a little bit to the credit rating and the process that we would have to go through for that. Our current rating is for Moody's, we're at AA, and then for Fitch, we're at AAA at this point in time. But Bobby can speak a little bit to the rating process on how
More
that
A's is
works.
better?
What's that?
More A's are better?
More A's are better.
More A's are better.
All right.
It's kind of like school, plus and minus means something too. So, Ms. Trumbo is absolutely correct on her ratings. If you were to issue this debt, and this does not commit you to issuing this debt, it'll come back to this board, and then if you decide to issue the debt, we will go to the rating agencies, we will present the township financials, the demographics, the economics of the township, and they will reevaluate it. Given the township's history and everything as it stands today, I believe that this debt issuance, if you were to issue the full 20 million, would not impact your rating. You would maintain your rating. You are a very fiscal township. You have growth. The economy is turning, as we all know, in a good way. So I believe the rating would not be impacted, but we would have to ask them to review it. It's no different than if you were to apply for a home mortgage or a car loan or a home equity. They would review your credit. And then every time you issue debt, the rating agencies require that you get a review.
What our rating is now?
It's AA by Moody's and AAA by Fitch.
Discrepancy between the two? Does Moody's use like I mean, what would be? I'm trying to remember, I think when I was on the school board, was one of them, we were penalized for being in Wayne County, I think. They'll use comparable
Well,
lines, and so.
30% of your rating is about your financials. 30% of your rating is about your economy, the area. The other 40% is about your debt burden, the community, the tax base, what it costs to live here, okay? You know, in terms of taxes and so forth. 30%, I always tell clients, is out of your control. Yes, being in Wayne County, there is a slight hindrance. However, being in western Wayne County and being in this area, they kind of group you towards Ann Arbor, Metro, whatever they call them now, I forget, statistics. So you are kind of grouped more towards that, if you will, as opposed to Wayne, the eastern side of Wayne County.
We have another budget item potentially tonight where we're going to be putting $8.5 million into paying off our liabilities, long-term liabilities. Would that be an item that would improve the financial outlook of the township that they would factor in if in a
Any payment, down payment, reducing of debt helps your rating, yes. Now, will that take you into AAA? I can't say that without looking at all of it and going to the rating agencies at this time and saying, let's look at it. I mean, it's a snapshot at that time of where you're at.
But Emery?
Can you tell us what the current rate for municipal bonds are?
Almost free money.
Oh, there you go.
If you were to do a 20-year bond issue today, in today's market, you would probably be looking at about 260, 270 average interest rate over the 20 years.
Is that climbing soon?
Not really,
It's been pretty flat.
not really. I mean, the Fed is talking about holding rates for at least the first 6 months of 2020.
So our rate is basically locked in when we sign up for a certain amount of the funds.
You know, obviously, I've done this a long time. The gray hair has not died. I don't pay to have this done. And 4 years ago, we were saying, who's going to be president? Where are rates going to go? Most people did not expect rates to be where they are today 4 years ago. Who knows what the 2020 presidential election will turn out. And I'm not trying to play politics, but rates have been so low. I mean, we are refinancing tomorrow a deal that we did in 2012 for a client in northern Michigan, AA+ credit. And they are looking at, with about 8 years left on the transaction, less than 2% average interest rate. So when I say almost free money, I'm not kidding.
That's not adjustable, that's a fixed rate.
That's
then.
fixed. They are fixed. That's,
One of our school districts here, the Van Buren School District, it's predominantly Belleville and Van Buren as well, but they refinanced and were able to bond out for an additional, I think, $35 million based on the savings they saw in the refinancing of their existing debt. So their tax rate stayed the same, but they were able to acquire $35 million of extra money to put to work on capital improvements and building an early childhood center, which speaks to kind of what you're saying, I think, about where the market's at. Interesting. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments? Those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Item G2, consider approval of collective bargaining agreement between Canton Township and International Union of American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees with the term ending December 31st, 2023.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the Charter Township of Canton and the International Union of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees for a term commencing January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2023, and authorize the Township Supervisor and Clerk to sign on behalf of Canton Township.
Support.
In summary, the current collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 3860, expires on December 31st, 2019, earlier this year. Township's negotiating team, consisting of Human Resources Manager, Finance Director, began meeting with representatives from ASME to negotiate a new CBA. The parties have reached a tentative agreement on the terms of the new three-year contract expiring, as stated, December 31st, 2023, and the ASME membership ratified the tentative agreement on November 20th, 2019. Are there any questions this evening for Kareen, who is with us? Bit of good news. Seeing no questions, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. There's a single item.
Correct.
Kareen, was that the only thing on the agenda for you tonight?
Next one.
Okay, we get the next one. Here we go. All right, very good. Item G3, consider approval of collective bargaining agreement between Canton Township and Technical Professional and Office Workers Association of Michigan with the term ending December 31st, 2022.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the Charter Township of Canton and the Technical Professional and Office Workers Association of Michigan for a term commencing January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2022, and authorize the Township Supervisor and Clerk to sign on behalf of Canton Township.
Summary, the current collective bargaining agreement with the Technical Professional and Office Workers Association of Michigan expires also December 31st of this year. Earlier this year, the township's negotiating team, as stated earlier, began meeting with the representatives TPOAM to negotiate a new CBA. The parties have reached a tentative agreement, and it is a three-year contract, which will expire December 31st, 2022 again. Also, the TPOAM membership has ratified the tentative agreement. Also, a bit of good news. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none.
Great job by the team, both teams, on all of these.
Favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G4, consider approval wage increase and other merit recommendations for the merit full-time, non-union employees for the fiscal 2020 fiscal year,
Mr. Supervisor, I hereby move to approve the proposed recommendation of the Merit Commission, which includes the 2.5% across-the-board wage scale increase, $250 optical reimbursement for employees, and a 2% base wage, MERS, employer contribution for those in the hybrid plan for the 2020 fiscal year.
Summary, in accordance with Ordinance 85, Merit Ordinance, and the Merit System Commission's Human Resource Policy Manual, the three-member Merit Commission is charged with recommending the wages and fringe benefits for the Merit full-time, non-union employees on or before November 30th of each year. At the Merit Commission meeting held December 3rd, 2019, the Merit Commission approved a recommendation to be brought to the Township Board for approval. The recommendation included a 2.5% wage increase, an increase in employee-only optical reimbursement from $200 to $250 to make an employer contribution of 2% of base wages into the MERS 457 plan for employees in the hybrid pension plan. These benefit enhancements, which is consistent with other bargaining units, was recommended for the approval by the Merit Commission. Under Ordinance 485, the wages and benefits of the classified employees shall be recommended by the Merit Commission, but shall not take effect until approved by the Township Board, which we are being asked to do this evening. Are there any questions, comments on this one? Okay, seeing none, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G5. Consider approval of wage increase for elected officials for 2020 fiscal year.
Mr. Supervisor, I hereby move to approve a 2.5% wage increase for the Canton Township Supervisor, Clerk, Treasurer, and trustees to be effective January 1, 2020.
Historically, elected officials have received the same wage increase that has been approved for the merit employees. It is recommended that the elected officials continue to follow the wage increases of the merit employees. Are there any questions, comments? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye. Those against, please say aye.
Aye.
Six.
5?
5, moving
Oh,
to
sorry.
G6. Consider award, good night, Corinne. Consider award of the final adjusting change order to Fishbeck, Inc. for the professional engineering services for the 2019 road improvement program.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve a change order to the existing purchase order contract for the 2019 major road construction projects to Fishbeck Incorporated in the amount of $27,720.
Township Board approved a contract with Fishbeck, Inc., formerly Northwest Consultants, Inc., in October 2018 for design and construction engineering of major road projects initiated under the first year of the road millage. In the fall of 2019, during the design phase, Fishbeck NCI provided a change order for additional design costs and geotechnical evaluations for these projects. Although the designs were completed and the road repairs successfully implemented this year, the initial design and geotechnical change order from 2018 was inadvertently not added to the contract, and we are now asking to do that and catch up the paperwork. We have Director Smith and Bill Surchek is with us also in the audience if there are any specific questions for this item or comments. Go ahead, Anne Marie.
Remind me what particular roads Fishbeck worked on?
Believe on the supporting documents, does it say that, Bill?
They worked on all the major roads, the Mile Road, Salt Hanford, Lily, Lots, North Taylor, Beck, making sure it hit all. Most major, the primary roads.
Are all of their projects completed and all their punch lists completed? Okay, so there's nothing. So Fishbeck is, their contract can close then after this payment then, is that correct? Okay,
For 2019.
for 2019, correct. All right, and they still have to bid on the next projects next year. Okay, all right, thank you.
Just had one question. I had a question today posed to me. Why was Lily Road not completely paved from Ford down to Michigan Avenue? There was a portion, it was like in the middle paved, but not all of it.
This year, we only completed about a little under half a mile between Cherry Hill and Ford. We did not have any
Are there plans to finish it all the way down? Eventually.
So, for those who are watching this on the internet or listening at home, because the township engineer is sitting in the audience and does not have a microphone, what he was stating was that what was planned was a half-a-mile section of Lily Road. That was what was budgeted for, and in the first year of the program, that was what was presented to the public, and that was what was worked on.
It was one of the most expensive parts of the 20.
Not say that, but that is true.
But I'm saying.
Right.
Also, I'd like to add that we have on our website, there's a roads page dedicated to just the roads discussion, and there is a link that you can click on that'll take you to what is going to happen in the next 2 years in terms of Wayne County's priorities. We go out 2 years or a year and a half?
We are working through that process now, but nothing is actually on the website as of yet. We're waiting for finalized numbers before we actually announce. We have tentative projects, but we won't put them out there as a for sure until we're for sure that the bids come in under the appropriate budget.
Coming to a website near you soon. Not there
Correct.
yet.
Stay
Okay.
tuned.
All right.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
That just the county projects?
No, that would be the township projects as well. Yep.
Just since we're on Lily Road, actually, I do get asked a lot of questions that is near my neighborhood. So as following up on what John said, is that there is that portion between Ford Road and where we started the new pavement, that it's a little rough. And they're just saying, why didn't you just go the extra?
Yeah.
You know, I get that, we get that a
It
lot.
cost me a cup of coffee
Yes.
today why you didn't do that.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
We get a lot of questions like that. We did actually add some linear feet of road, but we didn't add any to Lily. Lily, as Trustee Foster mentioned, was one of the most expensive portions that we fixed this year. So,
Now, if you look though at that transition, it's pretty bumpy, and in terms of just Lily Road, what's to stop it right where the asphalt, old asphalt meets the old concrete from breaking up at that point? Where you're going from old road to new road when you still have some bumpy pavement on one side?
well, as far as we can tell, the repairs that were done this year do have a good transition. I don't really have any further plans beyond what we did this year. We do have future years if other issues come up, and we do intend to do the remainder of Lily Road at some point.
Okay, are all of our contracts closed then?
Yes, right now we are closing out both of the major construction contracts.
We don't have any punch lists or anything? Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other comments, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Item G7, consider award a change order to the contract with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC for major road, major concrete projects for the 2019 road improvement program.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve a change order to the purchase order and contract with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC for the 2019 major road, major concrete projects construction in the amount of $31,057.40.
Second?
2019, Township awarded Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC, Great Lakes, a contract for $660,607.47 plus a 10% contingency. An additional change order was approved in August for $4,037.26, bringing the total award to $730,705.47. The final change order has been submitted by Great Lakes, bringing for $31,057.40. This work was primarily for work on Lots Road south of Burlington, and therefore a change order in the amount of $31,057.40 has been prepared. Any questions for Bill or Jade? Go ahead, Anne Marie.
Could you describe a little bit more about the changes to Lots Road, the pavement repairs? Because we did have somebody in here last meeting, I believe it was, talking about some of the drainage issues. Is that in the same area, or?
This is an example of where we were on Lots Road and we had an opportunity to extend it several hundred feet south, and we actually added some work. So that's what this change order was from. We went a little bit further south.
How do you make that decision then, to do that on one road versus another?
It was made in the field, and it was a small amount. So it's not something that we had contemplated, but we were able to go a little bit further south on Lots Road. I couldn't tell you the exact answer, but we had a similar situation, if you might recall, back in August, we added some funds to a contract for Hanford, near Hanford and Canton Center, where we were there, and the conditions dictated that we fix that area and not mobilize off and then come back a year later. So we want to be able to have that flexibility.
They call you out there? Is that how that works, or they come to the office?
No, not me. We have a full-time engineer that watches all this work. So we have oversight of these contractors on the projects.
If I can just interject real quick, this is probably something you're going to see moving forward. We're going to look at how we can route the contracts a little bit differently to allow for these contingencies, just because when they are out in the field, it makes sense. Kind of to your point on on Cherry Hill, or Lily, you had mentioned that there was a transition spot. So we'll be looking at those spots a lot closer, and if we can structure the contracts a little bit differently, we won't have to come back for all these change orders, and we'll be able to make those calls right out in the field, working with the engineers.
Thank you.
So this agenda item, along with the next one, is they're very similar in nature. One contract was just forwarded a little bit differently than the other one. So, but the next one is the same as well.
Michael?
The question was asked, because it was brought up about the dangerous building hearing that we had, which was also on Lots Road. That would have been on the north side of Cherry Hill Road.
Versus the
on Lots
south.
Versus the south side, which is where our work was. I believe their issue with drainage was about the $5 million project with state funds that was completed prior to us being on the board, right? That was.
Okay, so it wasn't our project.
Oh, yes, those are two different areas of lots completely.
That was an
Yeah.
entire, that was,
They're
it was
unrelated,
it was
yeah.
an unpaved road, right? That was at the paving of.
And that was a county project, correct?
Okay, thank you. Okay.
No further comments, questions? Those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G8, consider award of final adjusting change order to the contract with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC for major minor concrete projects for 2019 road improvement program.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve a change order to purchase order contract number listed with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC for the 2019 major road minor concrete projects construction in the amount of $129,553.02.
Second?
Same thing here. We awarded contracts to Great Lakes for the major road minor concrete projects in the amount of $1,017,516.65. Additional concrete work on Salts and Hanford were added to the project, and two change orders in the amount of $41,253 and $88,300 for the total as stated by Clerk Segrist have been prepared by Great Lakes and approved by our engineer of record, Fishback Inc. And now we're asking for approval from the board. Are there any questions, comments? Same thing, third item, same idea. This one, Salts and Hanford. Okay, seeing none, those in favor of the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G9. Consider approval of the 2019 budget adjustments.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the attached listing of budget adjustments to the 2019 budget.
The township adopted the 2019 budget at the November 27, 2018 board meeting. Since then, has made various amendments to it. At this time, I'm asking the Board of Trustees to approve the attached budget adjustments to the 2019 budget year. A description of the budgeted items is explained on the attachments. Hello.
One?
One item there for 17,000, another one for 5, another for 5. So some goods
Nope.
goes ins to and some goes outs to. Yeah, what's missing here that I would like, and I could do the math myself, but the total net delta, one way or the other, between the three, 17.
And there's a big roads one.
They're broken out by different funds, so it,
Oh.
can't really look at it
As a
to add up
conglomerate,
as a
each one's
total.
individual, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. All right, so, Are there any questions specifically, please, Michael, for?
Capital outlay infrastructure, it looks like we're decreasing.
Yeah, that
How does that because
delta
of the-
decreased by $3.1 million. That's because the Ridge Road construction is actually going to happen in 2020 instead of 2019. If we would have left it in 2019, it would have looked like we budgeted a deficit for 2020 because we would have had $3.1 million of expense in 19 and another $3.1 million in 20. So we had to take that out. That's right.
I wish it was done in 2019, unfortunately.
Yes, we do. Okay, seeing no further questions or comments, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G10, request for approval to deposit additional monies to MERS to fund pension and OPEB liabilities.
Mr. Supervisor, this is in the form of 3 motions. I move to approve the additional funding to the MERS pension system for Canton Township in the total amount of $8,535,119.
According to the most recent actuarial reports from MERS, the township combined pension plans are approximately 64% funded, with an unfunded liability of $48,808,000. The township has made it a priority to address these legacy costs while also maintaining strong retirement benefits for its current and future employees. As a part of the financial projection reviews done in conjunction with the CIP plan, we're comfortable with the financial ability to fund the additional $8,535,119 to the MERS pension system in 2019. With this additional funding, the plan's funding level will increase to approximately 71% based on the 2018 actuarial valuation. Additionally, Township has an unfunded OPEB liability of approximately $33,086,000 and is 30% funded. We have the resources to pre-fund an additional $750,000 towards the OPEB plan. With this additional funding, the plan's funding level will increase to approximately 38% based on the 2018 actuarial valuations. Are there any questions at this time for Wendy? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Exciting.
11, consider, two more motions. Thank you, Diane and Michael.
It's exciting.
I do.
Sorry, I was rereading it.
I do.
Mr. Supervisor, I further move to approve additional funding to the MERS retiree health funding vehicle in the amount of $750,000.
Second.
In favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Third motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the following budget amendments as listed.
Second.
The details are in the decks. Those in favor of the third motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G11, consider request to issue purchase order for patrol vehicle conversion parts.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve a purchase order to Cruisers Corporation in Howell, Michigan, for patrol vehicle conversion parts in the amount of $21,389.50.
Public Safety is requesting a purchase order to be issued to Cruisers Corporation in the amount of $21,389.50 to purchase patrol vehicle conversion parts for 6 new vehicles purchased this year. Cruisers Corporation is the current vendor utilized by Fleet Services for all the conversion equipment, is being requested to purchase to maintain consistency and continuity within the Canton fleet of patrol vehicles. Are there any questions for Director Meyer?
We putting in jet engines or?
No.
Is this, it says non-technology items? What's an example of a non-technology item?
Ooh, that wasn't so good. Essentially, the Ford Explorer changed the body style. So all of our computers, our radio equipment, that can be transferred from the remaining vehicles into the new vehicles, but the push bumpers, the back seat partitions, the cage, and equipment cannot. So we have to, because they widen the vehicle, so we have to purchase those.
Thanks.
I find it interesting that on the last RBA, we spent $8.5 million without asking any questions, and here it's 21,000. Sometimes that happens, and I always just kind of makes me laugh when we have like a $21,000 expenditure and numerous board questions. I don't have any questions, I just wanted to bring that up.
Appreciate the comments,
The
sir.
irony
Appreciate the
of it.
comments, sir. Are there any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G12, consider approving purchase of a 2020 one-year extended service agreement for the Motorola Dispatch Council.
Supervisor, I move to approve the 2020 purchase of a Motorola Solutions one-year extended service agreement for radio and dispatch console equipment in the amount of $29,064.81, utilizing funds in the 2020 E911 budget.
Public Safety Department is requesting to renew a one-year service agreement with Motorola Solutions in the amount of $29,064.81 has been stated to cover the department's 800 megahertz dispatch radio E911 console components. The new agreements need to be in place prior to January 1st to maintain seamless coverage for 2020. Funds for this agreement are budgeted in the 2020 E911 count. Are there any questions for Director Meyer? Director Clerk Segris, last comment. I'm going to think no, because this is less than the
I
last
didn't want to
one.
hinder debate or discussion.
I'm scared to ask one now.
Please do. I was,
It's a very riveting topic, if you'd like an explanation.
Those,
yes, are you sure you need these? Because I don't know if we've got the funds.
yes, we do. It's budgeted.
Do as long as they don't break, or we don't as long as they don't break.
Those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, that's the last formal agenda item for this evening. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Say none. Directors, any comment? None for us this evening. Board, any closing comments, remarks?
Did we have we met since the tree lighting? That was a success. That was this weekend, right? This last weekend? Sorry, I have a 6-month-old at home, so I really couldn't tell you what day it is. But
Last
that was a
Wednesday.
lovely leisure services event with the tree lighting. Bush's did a fantastic job with their complimentary catering. I
Great
enjoyed it.
food, wreaths around the world. That was real nice.
Culture Commission had wreaths set up from all of the different countries. That
Yes.
was great. So congratulations.
It was cold.
Not as cold as previous years.
It was COLD, cold.
I was
No
in,
one.
I hung out at the Bushes, by the Bushes food, so.
We had Jack keeping you warm.
That's right.
This is our last official meeting of the year. We have a study session.
We have a
but-
study session next
last-
Tuesday, so
I will not
one
be
more
there.
meeting. Yeah.
I will not be there, so happy holidays to everybody, and
Merry Christmas,
break
Happy
anything while I'm
Hanukkah.
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas and a
Kwanzaa.
Happy New Year. We got another
Happy
meeting.
New Year.
But you won't be here.
I'll be here.
Happy Hanukkah.
Diane will be, if you will have her, she will be the,
Clerk Pro Tem.
Tomorrow, we have the MDOT meeting to talk about the Ford Road Boulevard.
Be a good one. With the DDA,
That's
with the DDA folks.
that'll be exciting.
In this room. Okay. Seeing no further questions, comments, those in favor, or no, need a motion to
So
adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, the motion is presented, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good night.